and I couldn't wait to join.
If you're a senior looking for a fun activity, St. Charles Parish's Department of Parks and Recreation has something right up your alley.
And it's exciting, seeing all these seniors out here, still into the game.
The Senior Bowling League gives our residents the chance to strike up fun and make new friends along the way, with outings at noon each Monday at All-Star Lanes in Kenner.
It's a nice little league. I enjoy the people out here. I enjoy bowling.
It gives you something to do. It keeps you involved in the community. It keeps you talking to individuals and learning about other people's experiences.
Roll on over to www.scpparksandrec.com for more information.
Good evening, and welcome to the St. Charles Parish Council meeting on Monday, July 31st, 2023, at 6 p.m. in the council chambers in the parish courthouse. Please silence all electronic devices and remove all hats. Due to Pastor Smith not being able to attend tonight, this meeting will be called to order with a silent prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father, we thank you. We give you all the glory. We give you all the honor. It is in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Belloc. First business is the approval of minutes. A motion and a second is needed to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of July 10, 2023. I have a motion by Ms. Fonseca and a second by Ms. Derensborg-Gordon. Please cast your votes. And that passes unanimously. Next up, we have special business, proclamations, canvases, returns, etc. Item number 2023-0180, in recognition, Sheriff Gregory C. Champagne, National Sheriff Association President. Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Parish of St. Charles, in recognition, whereas Sheriff Gregory C. Champagne is currently serving his 7th term as Sheriff of St. Charles Parish. He is the longest tenured sheriff in the parish's history, with 27 years of service. And whereas Sheriff Champagne was born and raised in St. Charles Parish, he graduated from Hornville High School and received a bachelor's degree in government from Nicholls State University in 1979 and a Juris Doctorate from Louisiana State University Paul M. Hebert Law Center in 1982. And whereas, following law school, Sheriff Champagne served as an assistant district attorney in St. Charles Parish. During his 14-year tenure, he earned a reputation as a tough but fair prosecutor with a 94% conviction rate. He tried numerous felony jury trials, including 8 homicide trials, all of which resulted in convictions. And whereas Sheriff Champagne was first elected Sheriff of St. Charles Parish in 1995, he was re-elected without opposition in 1999 with 81% of the votes in 2003 and with 83% of the votes in 2007. He ran without opposition in the 3 consecutive elections from 2011 to 2019. And whereas Sheriff Champagne graduated from the Federal Bureau of Investigation Academy in Quantico, Virginia, on 2 occasions. First, he completed the FBI's Law Institute for Prosecutors, and more recently, he graduated from the FBI's Law Enforcement Executive Development Program. And whereas Sheriff Champagne was installed for a 2nd term as president of the National Sheriff's Association, NSA, in June, he previously served as president of the NSA in 2016 through 2017. For the past 20 years, he has chaired the NSA Legal Affairs Committee, which analyzes proposed congressional legislation and files amicus briefs with the U.S. Supreme Court on landmark criminal justice issues affecting sheriffs nationwide. And whereas Sheriff Champagne was named Louisiana Sheriff of the Year by the Louisiana Crime Victims Coalition in 2003, he was the first sheriff of St. Charles Parish to serve as president of the Louisiana Sheriff's Association in 2007 through 2008. He regularly testifies before the Louisiana legislature on important criminal justice issues on behalf of the Louisiana Sheriff's Association and serves on the Louisiana State Law Institute's Criminal Justice Committee, analyzing criminal justice issues for the legislature. And whereas, outside of his professional life, Greg has shared over 41 years of marriage with his wife, Alice Landry Champagne. His daughter, Rochelle C. Farrig, is an assistant district attorney, and his son, Greg Champagne Jr., is a deputy tax assessor. He also has 5 grandsons. And whereas Sheriff Champagne is a genuine servant of the community as a longtime member and past president of the Rotary Club of St. Charles Parish, a member of Holy Family Catholic Church, and Knights of Columbus Council 2409. He is the most deserving of the highest recognition for his dedication to law enforcement and the protection of St. Charles Parish and the state of Louisiana. Now, therefore, be it resolved, we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the parish president, do hereby commend Sheriff Champagne on his second term as the president of the National Sheriff's Association and extend sincerest wishes that he continue to prosper in all of his endeavors. And I'd just like to say that Councilwoman Billings and I and Parish President Jewell were honored to attend Sheriff Champagne's swearing in June, and we congratulate him again for this accomplishment and thank him for his service and everything that he's done for our parish and our state and our nation. Sheriff Champagne is here to...
Be extra safe tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. I really appreciate this. You know, it's a work of love that I do. This is actually more work for me the next year, but things have changed. A lot of our work, instead of flying up to Washington once every 2 weeks now, there's a lot of WebEx meetings, so that's been a good thing, and it's been kind of a curse, because then you get stuck on that computer screen like almost every day with a meeting. But I wouldn't be able to do all this. You know, I'm able to have the freedom to do it because I've had a great staff that we have worked to train and I believe get to be one of the premier law enforcement agencies in the state. And I have to give them credit, because I can leave town with a pretty good conscience knowing that when something unfortunately bad happens from time to time, that my staff can really handle it. So, but thank you so much. One correction, I am St. Anthony Catholic Church now, not Holy Family. I like Holy Family, but we went back to our first church, St. Anthony. But thank you again. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sheriff Champagne, and thank you, Ms. Fonseca. Okay, item number 2023-0181, in recognition, Valero St. Charles Refinery 20-year anniversary. Mr. Fisher.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Whereas in 2023, Valero Energy Corporation purchased its St. Charles Refinery from the Orion Refining Corporation, located in Norco, expanding their Gulf Coast reach and creating one of the most dramatic industrial turnarounds in the company's history. Whereas Valero Energy Corporation is a joint venture and its member, Diamond Green Diesel Holdings, LLC, which through its subsidiary owns a renewable diesel plant with a production capacity of 7 million gallons per year. And whereas Significant investments and improvements were added over the years, and with that exploitation that has followed, taken place through the addition of Diamond Green Diesel facility, that makes the Valero St. Charles refinery site one of its largest and most complex facilities. Whereas the Valero St. Charles refinery is a 350,000 barrel per day high complexity refinery with the second largest renewable diesel plant in the world. In 2021, production began at its new alkylation unit at the refinery. This unit produces over 17,000 barrels per day. And whereas St. Charles Refinery was recognized with OSHA's Voluntary Protection Program STAR site designation since 2017. And in 2021, they received the AFPM Elite Gold Award for performance as a top 5 percentile of the industry in safety, and also received the Valero's Chairman Safety Award, an honor that the refinery has received 5 times into its history. Whereas Valero St. Charles Refinery has 628 employees, and more than 31,000 volunteer hours have been logged since 2027. The Pontchartrain Conservancy, a safe space, court-appointed special advocates, CASA, Second Harvest Food Bank are just a few nonprofits that volunteers dedicate their time and efforts to in the community. And whereas the Valero St. Charles Refinery is an active member of the River Region Chamber of Commerce, the Louisiana Mid-Continent Oil and Gas Association, they partner with the following community organizations: United Way, Junior Achievement, A Safe Space St. Charles, and the Arc of St. Charles. They have donated more than $8 million to children's charities in the Southeast Louisiana region since 2003. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby congratulate the Valero St. Charles Refinery on their 20-year anniversary. And I believe we have Vice President and General Manager, Mr. Jerry Stumbo.
Thank you very much, Bob. Thank you very much, Mr. Stumbo. Item number 2023-0182, in recognition, Diamond Green Diesel LLC, 10-year anniversary. Mr. Fisher.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Whereas Diamond Green Diesel LLC is a joint venture between the subsidiaries of Valero Energy Corporation and the Darling Ingredients Incorporated, and whereas the renewable diesel is produced from sustainable, low-carbon feedstock such as used cooking oil and edible animal fats, derivative from processed meat, fats, and fuel-grade corn oil with an integrated supply chain. Darling Ingredients Incorporated has an extensive experience in pre-treating the feedstocks for further processing, and Valero has an extensive experience in converting the pre-treated feedstock to renewable diesel and marketing transportation fuels to the marketplace. And whereas this combination is unique in the renewable diesel industry, and it enables Diamond Green Diesel LLC to efficiently produce and market a superior low-carbon fuels with a reduced greenhouse gas emissions up to 80% compared with traditional diesel fuels. And whereas Diamond Green Diesel LLC is the largest renewable producer in North America and the second largest in the world, with 2.3 billion pounds of rendered and recycled materials converted each year and 1.2 billion gallons of renewable diesel produced each year. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby congratulate Diamond Green Diesel on their 10th year anniversary. I'd also like to make a side note, that the Diamond Green Diesel facility was accepted into OSHA's VPP Star site designation last Thursday, and that now gives St. Charles Parish a total of 10 OSHA VPP Star sites. So when we talk about industry in St. Charles Parish, and OSHA's Voluntary Protection Program recognizes the employees and the workers in private industry and federal agencies who have implemented effective safety and health management systems to maintain the low injury rates below the National Bureau of Labor Statistics. And VPP, management, labor, and OSHA work cooperatively and proactively to prevent fatalities, injuries, and illness and manage in communities. I'd like Mr. Jerry Stumbo to step up again and Ms. Stevie Coretta accept this award.
Thank you.
Thank you all today. On behalf of everyone at St. Charles Parish, Valero Site, and Diamond Green Diesel, I'd like to thank you all for this recognition. I live in this parish. Most of the people I work with live in this parish, and we're blessed to be here and be able to do business here. And it's because of this great parish that we're able to do that. So thank you all.
Thank you again, Mr. Sumbo, and thank you again, Mr. Fisher. Item number 2023-0183, in recognition, First National Bank USA. Mr. Jewell.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I'll read a recognition here. Whereas First National Bank USA has offices in Booty and Laplace, Louisiana, and whereas First National Bank USA's main office has been located and domiciled in Booty, Louisiana since 1975, which is the only St. Charles Parish domiciled bank. And whereas First National Bank USA offers a diverse array of products, including multiple types of loans and deposit products. And whereas First National Bank USA's goal is to maintain excellent and partner with the local community to help satisfy its financial needs. And whereas according to the first quarter 2023 Bank Performance Reports rankings of 110 banks in Louisiana, First National Bank USA was recognized as the #1 ranked bank in Louisiana for their overall performance. And whereas Bank Performance Reports used information from public data and reports sent to the FDIC, assembled by S&P Global, and comprised of 8 categories of bank performance categories and 50 subcategories to determine their rankings. And whereas First National Bank USA was also ranked as a 5-star bank superior by Bauer Financial, a bank rating company, which is Bauer Financial's highest rating. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby recognize First National Bank USA, rated #1 bank in Louisiana 2023, and here to accept is Mr. Brant Dufresne. Yeah, come on up. All First National staff.
I got a good idea why.
Yes, please. Oh, no. I think I stand it again. Come on back. Come on back. Thank you.
I thought for sure she was under go back. We had to know, don't worry.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, St. Charles Parish. I was 26 years old and I decided I was going to organize a bank, which is not even heard of for somebody of that age, more or less get it accomplished. When I was in college, I worked for the Dean of the Department of Commerce at USL at that time, which is now UL. And he wrote feasibility surveys, and I worked for him, helping him put them together. When I got out of college, I was a salesman for a boat company. And I stopped in Lafayette to visit him one time, said, I'd like to organize a bank in St. Charles Parish. And he said, well, you know what to do. Get the data together. I got it together. He signed it for me, and we submitted it to the state. Well, we went through the process 5 different times before we got a charter. Finally, we went to the federal government, and we got a federal charter. And it's been a dream since then that basically when we started, recession came in the early 80s, and we were ranked in that recession as the #1 bank in Louisiana throughout the recession, 1994. They closed 133 banks in Louisiana. We were rated the #1 bank. And so it's from St. Charles Parish we made this happen. And we have a great board of directors. My son is a director. Timmy Vial is a director. George Williamson and Ken Sawyers, who give great leadership and great ideas. And my staff that was just up here with me implements them, and they do a great job of implementing them. So we're looking for a great future to be here in St. Charles Parish in the future. Thank you, St. Charles Parish.
Okay. Item number 2023-0184, proclamation, Vehicular Heat Stroke Awareness Month. Ms. Belloc.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Proclamation. Whereas, according to the National Safety Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, the number of child hot car deaths for 2022 was 33. So far, 2023 have 11 hot car deaths reported. In 2022 alone, approximately 57 animals endured heat-related deaths, and another 488 were rescued in 2022. And whereas it is hard to overstate the toll this takes on families, but together we can help put an end to this tragedy by taking some important steps. And whereas Don't Leave Me Behind is a vehicular heat stroke prevention partnership between United Way of St. Charles Success by 6, St. Charles Women's Club, St. Charles Parish Sheriff's Office, St. Charles Parish Public Schools, St. Charles Humane Society, St. Charles Firemen's Association, St. Charles Parish Library, and St. Charles Community Health Center, German Coast Farmers Market, 4 Stars Child Care Facility, and St. Charles Parish Government. Information is available through contact with any of these agencies, and whereas the following strategies can save lives. Keep car doors locked when parked to prevent a child from climbing in and becoming trapped. Never leave a child or a pet in a vehicle when running errands. Make it a habit to check the front and back seat of your vehicle before locking the door and walking away. Place your purse or briefcase in the back seat to remind you to look before you lock. Invest in a child car safety mirror and write on a brightly colored sticky note to put on the dashboard of your car to remind you of your child or pet in the vehicle. And whereas the St. Charles Parish is committed to working closely with community advocates to help prevent kids and pets from being left in cars unattended, the goal is to bring awareness to the entire community about vehicular heat stroke to prevent tragedies when traveling with kids and pets. No matter how short or long the trip, young and old find themselves a caregiver, a babysitter to little ones, special needs, pets, and the shut-in. So we ask that you don't leave them behind. And whereas St. Charles Parish encourages all parents, family members, caregivers, and work together with the agencies promoting the Don't Leave Me Behind prevention and awareness program, and to relay the information obtained to friends and coworkers through social media. Now therefore be it resolved, we the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President do hereby proclaim August 2023 as Vehicular Heat Stroke Awareness Month in St. Charles Parish, and urge all citizens to help prevent the tragic loss of life of kids and pets being left in unattended cars. We have Ms. Tyrell Cromwell and Ann Haydell. Cornwell. And Ms. Ann Haydell to receive.
Thank you.
Once again, as I say in every August, thank you very much. A lot of my members are up here. Hi, ladies. As you said, it is hot. Everybody know it is. But what we've expanded the program to is babysitting. The sheriff's office has a class on babysitting and rescuing and being able to handle CPR with kids. So we've extended it to the non-drivers. And when I say don't leave me behind, I mean the swimming pool, the bathtub, and other places like that. So we have extended the program to reach the audience. And all I would ask everyone to say is never say no. Okay? Thank you very much.
Ms. Cornwell.
Thank you.
Ms. Cluley.
Thank you, Ms. Cornwell. And I'd also like to remind everyone that it also affects the elderly. Lots of times they're sitting in the car while someone goes into the store to either fill a prescription or get some groceries, and sometimes the line is long and they end up sitting in a hot car for quite some time. So to please be aware of that also. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Marilyn. Okay, now we're going to move to reports, finance, and administration activities. Item number 2023-0186, the Ark of St. Charles. Is Miss Bryant here?
Right here.
Oh, there she is. Hi.
This is programs, right? Yeah. I saw it say finance. I was like, no. So, good evening, guys. Thank you all for having us. We're excited to be here. As you can see, we have several of our individuals and several of our staff. And we have some parents who are trying to sit down, but I'm going to ask them to come stand up here as well. It's like, oh, we're so nervous. They're going down in their seats. Okay. But we're excited to be here. And so typically, again, I'm talking, but I'm choosing to back up a little bit. And we're teaching our guys to be able to advocate for themselves and speak for themselves wherever we're going. And so who's controlling it?
I'll control.
Oh, you have it there?
I guess.
Oh, I don't know. Does that control the PowerPoint?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so Malcolm?
Malcolm.
Maggie will be assisting Malcolm.
Yeah, you want to introduce that?
Good evening, esteemed members of the council and President Jewell. My name is Malcolm Moore. I'm part of our People's First Committee. I am our parliamentarian. I would also like to introduce the rest of my committee. We have O'Neill, who was our president, Billy King, who was our vice president, and Jenna Johnson, who is our secretary here today, and board member Darian Holzclaw.
Ready? Ready? Okay.
Ready. So tonight I would like to speak to you on behalf of the current services we provide. We have 3 different layers to what we do. We have our in-home services, which I actually am receiving myself, which will include a worker that will come into the home and help with daily living with the clients. We have our day hab program where the clients can come together and get to know each other, make friendships, and go out in the community to do things, including volunteering at the food pantry in Destrehan. And then we have the respite care, which is which we partner with United Way and the Council on Aging for.
Ready?
Ready.
Do you want to tell them about the vocational services of
Oh,
Lawn
right.
and Cajun
We
Village?
have several vocational services, which I am part of 2 of. We have our lawn care crew. We have our day janitorial crew, which I do Monday through Thursday. We have our swamp shredders who shred legal documents. We have Cajun Village Thrift Store, which I work there on Fridays. And we have our Throw Me Something Mr. Beats store and Mardi Gras Supply that we get plenty of orders from.
Ready?
As I mentioned earlier, we do partner a lot with the community, including places such as the animal shelter, the food bank, as I mentioned before, Anytime Fitness. We do something on our janitorial crew called the Trash Bash, where we go into the community on certain streets and just clean them up. We will be there all day picking up trash and other debris on the sides of the roads. Hot work, but it needs to be done. We will also paint fire hydrants. We partner with the libraries and Parks and Recreation. There's so much we do to help not only the community, but our clients get out there and find out more about where they live. As I mentioned earlier, we have our People's First Committee to teach us and others with disabilities to speak up and have your own voice. We have gone on many different outings into not only our local community, but as far as Baton Rouge and even to the art conference in Denver, where we have shown, even though we are clients, we are still people and we can still speak and say, hey, I'm here. Some of the places that the art has taken our clients is water parks, Top Golf, planetarium, the library, many different places, many different things for them to have fun with. Our Upstart Career Camp has, while recently ended, happens every year during the summer for 1 month?
5 weeks. Yeah.
5 weeks. And what that does is gets possibly future clients, teenagers up to age 22, to come in and help them get some more skills. And not only that, but learn that we exist, that we, the ARC, exist, because some of them just don't know. And with that, their parents will know, and then maybe like, hey, we like what this place is doing. Let's send our children here because they're blossoming there. And I've actually witnessed a few clients and Upstart campers flourish, and it was wonderful. And now I'll pass it on to Ms. Victoria Bryant and Jenna Johnson to continue the rest of the PowerPoint.
Thank you, Malcolm. Great job. And so I have Ms. Jenna who will assist me with talking about where we're headed now. We have a lot of challenges ahead of us, things that we want to do, things that we need to accomplish. So that was the side in terms of the actual services, but whether we reside, where are guys coming every day? And so we're talking about repairs to our buildings. You know, what is the face of the ARC looks like, and we want to change that. And so there's several things that we need to improve upon, ramps and just the face of the agency, the painting and all of the things like that. We have to present a new look, and that's our goal this year, focusing on what is our new look going to be. And so we'll be working hard towards that.
All right, and we are in need of new air conditioning units, and especially in the quad, which we were going when we get to the ARC, but now because we don't have air conditioning in the quad, Miss Victoria made it to where we all are in Building C, where we have air conditioning at, seeing it's so hot out. And we need gravel, and we need cement instead of gravel, because where the buses unload and everything, the gravel pops, and it's not safe for us to get out off the bus.
We're also talking about better security. The gate that housed most of our lawn equipment, as you can see, is pretty much coming off. The back of our trailers that we maintain our equipment is hanging, on the edge of its last feet, and so, we're struggling with that. And so we have a lot of things to do in terms of repairs and rebuilding things around that agency to keep our grounds safe for our guys.
And we need new doors for the quad, because for the safety and security of us is at the Ark. We're in need of the doors. There's that lock and everything, and so we don't need those doors. We're in need of those ones.
We should have got you a little pointer. For
Yeah, Maggie.
We got it.
We have it. And so we're also looking at our vehicles. Of course, we get our vehicles from the Department of Transportation. And so we have to wait years before we get our next ones. And so those that we have to try to maintain to the best of our ability. And so air's out, windows, we replacing constantly, repairing the air conditioning, tires. And so we're looking to replace several of those vehicles as well. All right, so goodbye annex and greenhouse. So Hurricane Ida took away our greenhouse, and we hope to rebuild because that was a community effort with the schools. The middle school students would come and help work in the greenhouse. We had the master gardeners from the parish helping us with the greenhouse, and so we want to restore that, as well as the mobile home that we had for our files and our documents. Of course, that went out as well, and so we have to replace that with a facility that can house all of our equipment and supplies, and so that's what we hope to have in place as well, rebuild a whole building for equipment so we could keep everything together.
I want to thank everybody for supporting the Ark and continuing to support the Ark of St. Charles.
And we thank you.
Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you very much. Ms. Belloc.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Ms. Victoria Bryant. Thank you to the ARC. We really appreciate your services because I tell you, your services are a godsend. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Did you all want to mention that you have a millage renewal coming up on the ballot? You can inform people about it without saying which way to vote.
So the importance of this year is we're looking forward to this year with being on the ballot for the millage, and we're hoping that the community supports us. The services are so needed for the individuals that we support. The repairs to the building, being able to purchase a new building for our equipment as we spoke about, but also being able to create new ideas and activities for these guys, because what we're doing is wonderful, but we're having people to come in and they want more. And so we have to keep reinventing ourselves for the next generation that's going to come forward. And so we definitely need the community support. We're so glad to have the parish council support as well as our parish president. And so we need all of your support who are out there looking at us. These are the people that you're supporting. And so your dollars mean a lot. And we hope that you come out and vote.
Thank you, Victoria. I remember back in 2015, if I'm not mistaken, when we were both going for our millage. Ours was the levy, and then this was the first time millage for the ARC. And the program has grown so much over the last almost 10 years. So I think you've made wise use of those taxpayer dollars, and I definitely support it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Mr. Dufresne.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Victoria, when you the AC, help me. You're looking for window units, or are you looking for a central unit?
We're hoping to get a central unit. Right now, the lease requires the ARC to cover the unit, and so we've priced it at $32,000. And so we, of course, cannot afford to do that. And so there's only one window that you can actually put a unit in. So at this point, we are like lost for what direction to go into for that.
Okay, and your chain link fence gates, or they need to be totally replaced, or they just need to be rehung?
Oh, totally replaced.
Replaced? Okay. So you need not just a Band-Aid, you need total fix?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
Ms. Bryant, thank you so much, and the board and your participants and your clients for all the important work that you guys do and the dedication that you guys have to the ARC. I appreciate it. Thank you. Item number 2023-0185, Department of Community Services. Ms. Diaz.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and hopefully I can talk and operate this at the same time here. I'm going to give you all an overview of the Department of Community Services. I'm going to highlight some data, service data from 2022, because that's our most compiled data, our most recent compiled data, and just kind of talk about some of the issues that we're facing, and then entertain any questions that you may have. The Department of Community Services, let's see if I can go. Well, is it the arrow? There we go, upside down. Provides emergency assistance to struggling families throughout St. Charles Parish. A lot of that is direct utility assistance. We disperse funds on behalf of federal programs that we have allocated to St. Charles Parish. Two of our largest programs, Low-Income Home Energy Program, LAHEAP and LAWAP, for this year was a new funding stream that allocated some money for us to help with water bills. In addition, we're a Second Harvest Food Bank site, and so we provide emergency food. We're the crisis food bank for the parish. There are other Second Harvest sites throughout St. Charles Parish. We serve as the crisis food bank because a lot of elderly individuals or disabled individuals aren't able to sit in line or don't have transportation to go through some of the large distribution sites that we have. So we serve as that satellite site for individuals to come on a monthly basis. We also do homeowner-occupied home repairs, utilizing federal and local resources that are available to us. This year was a big challenge because we had hurricane repairs interspersed in that. We also provide community-based programs. Those are our center programs. We do life skills, we do after school, we do programs for youth at risk, and a variety of specialty programs there. That includes life skills. And we do information referral. We work extensively with our community partners to ensure that we have a comprehensive continuum of care throughout St. Charles Parish, because our funds may be limited in one area, but what we do is work it through what I would like to call responsive case management model that we employ to work with everybody who has resources that might be available. So we look at the big picture and we look at the resources that are available within the community, and we do a linkage to those community resources for those individuals. I want to just highlight the fact that we have an upward spiral in requests for services from our department. Last year, it was 33% increase. Now, some of that could have been due to the hurricane that we had in St. Charles Parish because it took 2 years of recovery. But I'm also seeing that trend continue into this year to the point where our funding for 2023 has been exhausted. All the emergency funding, which usually lasts till December, and so we're kind of scurrying up some other resources and reallocating some funds. One of the things that I've been doing is we leverage the additional resources through our state partnerships, and I've been accessing, I work with the state extensively to access unused funds from other parishes, and believe it or not, there's a lot. And so through a reallocation of those funds, we are able to supplement our normal allocation. So we've been doing that to try to solve the problem. Just to kind of give you a picture of who's coming to us, 60% of the poverty level and the median income for the state of Louisiana is kind of the benchmark for people who would be eligible for most federal programs that we work with. And if you look at it, the largest piece of that pie, that red piece of the pie, most of those people coming to us are below that median income for the state of Louisiana, and for different reasons. And these are some of the reasons: medical reasons, unemployment, crisis in their family, disability, all of the normal crisis issues that we face in life. Last year, we had over 1,300 people apply for direct assistance. That's emergency assistance. Most of those were single parents or single individuals. About 70% were return clients. The three main areas that they came requesting support: utility assistance, so that would be electricity, gas, and water. Food support has been growing in leaps and bounds. I can't seem to keep food in the food bank. As quick as I put it in there through Second Harvest and the resources available there, I've been supplementing that with donations from corporate groups and financial donations, where I go to the Norco grocery and we have an agreement with them to get things at cost. And we have been making almost monthly purchases to be able to balance out a bag, because I don't want people coming to the food bank and just getting canned goods. What we try to do is have everything a family would use in a week: cereal, canned goods, but also frozen foods and meat. So that's a big expense for families trying to make it work. And this summer in particular, with kids out of school, we've had a large increase in families coming to us for that assistance. Emergency assistance, food, shelter, supplemental funds to help with different types of utility crisis, and medical assistance. If somebody has a high prescription, for example, we would help them with that. Just to kind of give you a quick summary on LAHEAP, we've dispersed over $338,000 in direct assistance. We do that through the state system for low-income home energy. In addition, we have another 13,600 and some change of people who have come to us who qualify under what's known as crisis LAHEAP. That's not the normal disbursement. It's people who have a disconnect or in arrears for different reasons. They have to document what that crisis is. This year, I was able to access ARP money, Recovery Act money, an additional $209,000 in direct support that went out to individuals. So that's pretty significant for the parish of our size. Last year, we accessed the low-income water assistance program. It's a one-time deal through Recovery Act money. We dispersed $83,000 in direct assistance. That was supplemental funds. We don't usually have water assistance. And I had already done my PowerPoint, but I've just signed an agreement with the state of Louisiana to access another $200,000 that will be available to us till the end of the year, helping other parishes spend their money that were not available. So we will be, I have 3 caseworkers working. We've been averaging about $20,000 a week since I've signed that agreement. And we have till September 30th. And then I'll beg them for an extension if need be, but it's a good resource because a lot of people have been coming to us with water bills. Our emergency assistance program, which utilizes community service block grant dollars, most of the community service block grant money funds the department, the staffing. Well, we supplement that heavily, but the core staffing for our department, the caseworkers, and then we supplement that with local emergency funds. That's the money that you all put into my budget for people who might not qualify for different reasons for the federal funds or have exhausted the federal funds and still have a crisis need. And so it gives us a little more discretion to be able to respond to the need using the local funds. And as you can see, we had 40 people come under the community service block grant, 165 through our local funding. That's the funding that you allocate. Then we were able to carve out some CARES Act funds. Sometimes I think I'm like, let's make a deal with the state of Louisiana, but we carve out, that's a significant amount. It doesn't seem like a lot, but $14,000 of assistance for people who need help with their different bills can really have an impact. And also made a deal with Atmos for the Share the Warmth dollars. We go directly into their system if they have a documented emergency, and we can put a credit on their gas account through the Share the Warmth, and they're pretty good about reallocating funds as needed for that. And I might add, because of the hurricane, I was able to get a grant from them to help with some replacement of appliances, things like gas water heaters, gas stoves, and so we've been utilizing those funds this year as well. Food assistance, 415 clients. Now, this is our little office food bank, if you put it in perspective, coming to us last year. And in addition, another 350 Thanksgiving bags. All of those Thanksgiving bags were done through donations that we hustle up, my staff, that come from the community at large, from the great support that we get from all of the businesses and individuals, too, in the community that provide that. Homeowner rehab, health and safety includes the money allocated for the hurricane recovery. $92,000 has gone to that. We also work in partnership with United Way of St. Charles as part of the recovery committee. So we leverage our funds with, you see, our volunteers, our wonderful volunteers from Labor of Love from St. Charles Borromeo, have to give them a shout out, who are at a project every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with volunteer groups, helping us to do some of the things like steps and flooring and preparing sites so that we save on contractor dollars to then go in and do the things that we have to have, like an HVAC or something like that. We had the USDA Housing Preservation Grant, $96,000 and some change on that to do 16 projects. A lot of those were roofs in this past year and handicap bathrooms primarily. United Way of St. Charles gives us ramps to do, $90,000 to do handicap ramps, so we qualify the individuals. And we have a partnership with Volunteers of America to build those ramps because they're experts at doing that. Occasionally, they may do a handicap shower or something like that as well. HUD Home program, we spent $95,000. Those are individuals who have very significant, in need of significant repairs to their homes. It's an extensive qualification process, and it's a continuous cycle. Neighborhood-based programs, we have 2 centers operated last year because our boutique outreach was out of commission because of the hurricane. They will be back in business. We're hoping to launch it in the fall, so I'm very happy about that. But we average 35 kids in the summer enrichment program. We do after-school drop-in, which means they come for homework help, tutoring, snacks, safe haven. We piloted this year early drop-in in St. Rose, so where parents could drop off the kids in the morning. We give them breakfast and get them on the bus in a safe haven there. Kelowna Community Center, we've had over 40 in the summer enrichment, and after-school drop-in's been picking up, too. They had a lot of damage in that area. And we do a little bit of everything, as you can see. In addition to the enrichment and the educational component, we do a lot of fun things as well. Summer food, we've got it down to 2 sites because the school system is doing a lot of summer bridge programs, but we are still providing over 3,000 meals to individuals. Those are hot meals to students who we put on a bus, bring them to the sites. And then we do much more. We do, as you can see, some games and activities. It's 2 hours out of their day, who might be a latchkey kid who can come for a hot meal, a safe activity, some fun stuff. We bring in some guest speakers sometimes, and they can go on their way back home. And then if you look at center snacks, I noted that because that's, when I say snacks, don't think a bag of potato chips. I would call it a mini meal. After school, those kids come to us starving, and we do sandwiches and salads and God knows what, nachos, those types of things. So we're having a greater demand for after-school snacks. Our life skills program is picking up at every level. The Lunch and Learn has really been very popular. We have a hot meal once a month at each center for the community at large. We did it on the go during the COVID era, and what we've done now is have them come in, they get an educational piece, just a little snippet of something related to life skills, and a hot meal as well. And then we do a variety of specialty programs for special populations. Tot Time has really been picking up where our young mothers, we do mentoring with the mothers, fun activities, and it's kind of like a mommy and me, but they're there together doing the activities. And we're doing some things with, we're getting a lot of young guys in our program, so I'm trying to really grow that, providing the supports and showing them the possibilities through some of the satellite folks coming in and corporate groups coming in as well. And finally, I can't do it alone. I have a great team who works very hard, and I want to note that for 4 years straight, we have met 100% of the federal standards for community action programs, and we received special recognition, one of the few agencies in the state of Louisiana to receive that recognition. And that's over 50 standards, national standards for program excellence. And I'm very proud of the work that my staff do, and they are in there every day in the trenches responding to the needs in this community. And I thank you all for your support, because we couldn't do it without your financial support through the budget and all the other supports that you give us. And if there's any questions, I'll be glad to.
Wow, that's a lot that you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
That's
Joan, in the middle of your presentation, when you mentioned that the program had run out of funding, the first thing that popped into my head as former grants officer was whether you had checked, to see if the other parishes had leftover funding. And of course, if there's a resource available, you will find it. You had already done that.
And, I do a lot of, I work closely with the grants office. I write a lot of the grants myself because I have a background in doing it, so we can help work together. And corporate groups have been very generous in this parish, and so we make it work. The WAP money is going to really come in handy because we have a lot of high water bills, so we're going to spend that money. And then, they use Providevit. God provides some kind of way. It comes
Well,
comes
thank you
to us.
for all you and your
We'll get
staff
it.
do to help those in need.
Yes. Thank you for your support.
Mr. Fisher.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Jones, I'm going to echo it. Ms. Fonseca said, being involved with community service for the last 4 years, ex officio, I've never seen a person with your enthusiasm and can pull things together. And you and I have emailed back and forth and met and stuff. But if there's a will, there's a way. And I want to, thank you and Ms. Sheila and your whole staff, because the people in this community would be a far lot worse than if it wasn't for you and your people. So
Well,
I want to
you.
thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. They work very hard.
Ms. Gordon.
Joan?
Miss
Joan?
Gordon.
Look, I'm looking at the timekeeper saying, cut it, I'm sorry.
Joan,
I'm sorry.
thank you for everything what you all do. But one question, I noticed actually on Facebook, your areas with Kelowna and St. Rose.
Yes.
So are they following the same schedule? Because it looked like the calendar in St. Rose is a little bit more active than the one in Kelowna. So I thought that they were going to be on the same wavelength as far as what St. Rose is doing.
They
Kelowna
do
should
joint
be doing.
planning. However, it's community-based, so we have to respond to the individual needs of that community. It's picking up in Kelowna a lot more, but there are different requests for activities. And like, for example, in Kelowna, some of the seniors like to come for Workout Wednesday and do some gardening things and some lunch and learn things. But we have more of the after-school picking up. And the summer, they had 40 kids active in Kelowna and about 35, which is, I think that's all we can fit in St. Rose as
Right,
well.
yeah, I've
But
been
we
up there a
do
couple
we
of
do
times during
joint
the
planning.
summer.
The team meets on a regular basis. They do the calendars together, but they have the freedom to have some unique activities that might be more appropriate in that community.
Okay.
I would say it might be different, but probably the same amount.
Okay, and another reason I ask, because I see more visibility with the St. Rose Community Center versus the Kelowna Community Center on the Facebook page.
And yeah, our staff post their own pictures because they're taking them, so maybe they're a little more active over there, but we're working on helping the staff. Maybe they're a little more computer savvy in St. Rose because they've been doing it longer, but I think it's picking up in Kelowna.
Okay.
They're picking up on learning how to post pictures on Facebook.
Okay.
So it's kind of a technical skill.
Okay.
Yes. All right, before I leave. anything?
Ms. Belloc.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
That's
Ms.
it?
Jones. One more.
One more.
I saw on your homeowner occupied rehab, it says 90,000, 13 ramps. That's correct?
The ramp, you're talking about the ramp particular? Yeah, and the ramps.
13 ramps for
Well, let
90,000.
me tell you. we contract with Volunteers of America to do ramps. Remember, you have to have a particular rise and run for a ramp. Some of these houses require a tremendous amount of lumber, and lumber prices have escalated. So I think one of the ramps went as high as like $8,000 for a ramp because of the, the requirements, the ADA requirements for the ramp. And
Must be
the
the
construction folks could tell you a little more. Yeah,
Okay.
so it's related to
And,
that.
What are the two schools that you do the lunches at? I know St. Rose is one. What's
Yes,
the other
Carver
school?
is the other one.
Carver?
Yes, over on the West Bank. We basically utilize whatever's available to us from the school system, and they've been doing a lot of summer programs. So it's worked out, though. We bus from all area. We have a bus service in every area of the parish, and so we bus the children to the sites. And in some ways, we have economies of scale by doing two sites. So we're doing the same number of meals, with one kitchen staff, maybe an extra person or two there, but all the food's going, saving a little money on food because we're doing one batch of cooking. So.
Okay, well, thank you for your service. And I know St. Rose keeps you busy, so really appreciate that.
They do.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Ms. Diaz.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to item number 2023-0187. Parish President Remarks and Report. Mr. Jewell.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Go ahead and get started with a number of things happening right now in the parish. My administration and the team, along with the council, have been hard at work on several different projects. First, we had the AMA pump station ribbon cutting a few weeks ago. That is a project that's designed to add some redundancy and double the capacity of the pumping station. And we have some other projects in AMA that are going to support feeding that station as much water as possible. We have the Barber Road groundbreaking, which is a project to stabilize Barber Road as well as in addition to giving Barber Road some much-needed shoulder space. And I know that is a priority for Councilman Dufresne. Additionally, we'll be making a drainage improvement there by getting kind of the maximum width out of the canals we can. We had the Paul Mallard revitalization groundbreaking just this last week. That is a project that's going to add sidewalks to both sides of the street, as well as redoing the road. They will have to move utilities out of the way, so one of the benefits will be new utility lines on the Paul Mallard corridor, additionally covered ditches and subsurface drainage to really not only freshen the curb appeal on that section, which is going to be Blueberry Hill over to Angus, but really to make some actual safety improvements. If you drive down Paul Mallard, you know that there's a lot of spots with no shoulder, and that leads to people riding on the edge of the road or walking on the edge of the road on a busy roadway. Additionally, I think we have the Destrehan 2 groundbreaking. This is coming up on August 3rd, this Thursday, and that is going to widen the sump at the Destrehan pump station, as well as add more inlet for the water to get in, which will allow the 270-inch pumps that we have there to operate. Also, we'll be upgrading all of the bar screen cleaners to a much beefier, robust system because we do get a lot of grass and debris at that station. The project that is currently underway right now, which is the Dunleith Bottleneck Project, will also complement this project as well. Then we'll go over, we have the West Bank Bridge Park revitalization groundbreaking. Hopefully, the council will approve that ordinance here tonight to make much-needed improvements to the West Bank Bridge Park, which include turf fields, new fencing, new perimeter fencing, LED lighting, as well as new scoreboards, new dugouts, and new grass in the outfield. That is going to be the largest investment in the West Bank Bridge Park pretty much to date, other than when it was actually built. And this is an area where we do 80% of all of our recreational activities. Additionally, we'll have the Splash Park groundbreaking on that same day when we do that groundbreaking next week. This is over like about a $2.2 million improvement at the Edward A. Dufresne Community Center, and will give us a splash park on the West Bank of St. Charles Parish. Very excited to say that we were able to secure multiple funding sources through the 29th Judicial District, as well as through the state, and our portion of that $2.2 million project is going to be about $500,000. So we're glad we were, and that honestly, that's going to allow us to do more at West Bank Bridge Park, which is a good thing. We have the DeSalmans Park improvements. The 23 acres of green space is one of our largest parks in the parish. We've upgraded it and cleaned it up from Hurricane Ida. Resurfacing and added basketball courts, a full basketball court, additional parking spaces, as well as a canopy there for residents to sit under. Ashton Soccer Field irrigation project, that is ongoing currently. The St. Charles Parish Soccer Club has worked closely with us. They put up $20,000 to help make that project a reality. Then going over to Turf Tank, over the weekend over the last week we showed off that field lining robot that we have. You can see here that, we ordered that robot last year. It's been hard at work through baseball. Now we're seeing what it can do on football fields. And this is kind of a level of detail that we were never able to reach with just our manual sprayers. So not only do you have, your 5-yard marks, you also have your hash marks and your numbered yard lines. So again, that's something that we haven't been able to do. And if we would have been able to do it, it would have taken us an extremely long amount of time to do it. But this robot can work while one person is cleaning up and doing things. And this is Hurst Field, by the way. So while one person's cleaning up, doing things around Hurst Field, this robot is doing its thing. We also have the ability to put logos on the field. I think we'll test that out when we get there. I don't know if we've tested that one yet. Additionally, we have the following projects that will be going out to bid or are currently out to bid during the month of August. The DeSalmans Bulkhead, located along Bayou DeSalmans. Primrose Sheet Pile, located in Primrose. I know that was a priority of Councilwoman Fisher Cormier. And then the Engineers Canal Bank Stabilization, which has been a priority in Norco and a priority of Councilman Fisher, as well as our previous councilwoman from Norco as well. All right, I will go over to our millage ordinance. I know we'll be taking this up tonight, so I just want to share some comments that I have, and take a moment to make sure that everybody here in the audience, the council, and people at home are watching are clear on what this proposal is. I've seen a lot of posts, I've heard comments on social media that have been either misleading or completely false regarding the proposed millage ordinance. What's being proposed for a vote here tonight is an increase in revenues for all millage recipients under the parish umbrella. In other words, everyone will get more this year than they did last year. What is also being proposed here tonight is a tax cut for all of the taxpayers of St. Charles Parish. Through tireless work by the St. Charles Parish Assessor, along with the Economic Development Office, the parish is experiencing an exceptional economic situation and future growth. The overall assessed value of the parish is increasing by about 20%, and thus a corresponding 20% increase in revenues to follow. This notable growth is primarily driven by new industrial properties that were previously exempted, along with properties that are now on the rolls under the new 80-20 ITEP rule. To illustrate the impact of this increase, consider that previously 1 mill generated about $1.8 million. That mill now will generate $2.2 million. So in response to this positive economic outlook, we have proposed a modest rollback in millage rates under the parish's umbrella. The primary objective being to give much needed relief to the taxpayers while simultaneously ensuring an increase in budget allocations for all recipients of millage funds. Our proposed reduction amounts to proposes to 1.5 mills. And although this might seem relatively minor, when you combine it with similar reductions by other taxing bodies, that becomes a significant reduction for the taxpayer, a meaningful reduction. For example, last week the school system reduced its millage rate by 2.5 mills, and I know others are looking to follow suit. It is crucial to emphasize that the proposed millage reduction rate does not correlate to a reduction in overall revenues. In fact, with the proposed reduction, the parish will receive an increase of $6.7 million under its umbrella. Our careful and pragmatic approach to developing The proposed ordinance involved collaboration with the assessor's office and the finance department, and we meticulously reviewed historical revenues and considered various factors, including inflation, when making those decisions. Notably, millage revenues have consistently outpaced both annual and cumulative inflation rates, providing the necessary funding for continued growth and buying power for all agencies involved. Additionally, I spoke with all respective department heads, outside executive directors, and gave personalized presentations to their respective boards when asked to do so. In closing, with additional properties like Valero being added to the rolls next year and new investments in St. Charles Parish, such as St. Charles Parish Clean Fuels, which we talked about earlier this evening, we anticipate this positive trend to continue, and these investments are expected to further strengthen the economic outlook and pave the way for sustained progress in the parish. And really quickly, I just have a chart here. So as you can see, this breaks down each individual account under the parish's umbrella, so I'll go through them. The general fund, under the proposed ordinance with the decrease, will receive an additional $1 million. Levies will receive $922,000 and change. Road lighting, an additional $12,000. Library will receive an extra $524,000. Road maintenance will receive an extra $1.3 million. Recreation will receive an extra $942,000. Mosquito control will receive an extra $17,950. Council on Aging will receive an extra $207,462. The Council on Aging's second millage will also receive an additional $172,155. Fire protection will receive an additional $348,714. Emergency 911 system will receive an extra $220,000. Healthcare, which is our community health unit, will receive an extra $134,632. The Arc of St. Charles will receive an extra $145,666. And lastly, wastewater will receive an additional $714,320, adding a total of $6,699,467 of added revenue with the proposed tax decrease. Next, I'll go on to waterworks. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the concerns that have arisen within the community regarding water bills. I know that many have reached out to our council members with concerns about spikes in water consumption, and I appreciate you working with us to get them connected to the employees of the billing office so that they could be helped. Additionally, I want to thank all of our employees in Waterworks who have been diligently taking calls, responding to emails from residents. As you know, it takes a coordinated effort of employees from production to distribution to billing to provide 22,000 residential, commercial, and industrial customers with water 24/7, 365. First, allow me to shed light on a couple of factors that may have contributed to the increase. The June billing cycle was longer. It was a longer billing period, spanning 35 days instead of the previous 2 months, which were both 28-day billing periods. That 35-day billing period is a 25% longer billing period than normal. And furthermore, June was one of our hottest, driest months in recent memories, which naturally led to increased water usage. I myself also experienced high usage during the last billing period, and I have a manual meter, not a new meter. Through working with Waterworks, many customers did identify leaks. I was working out of the Waterworks department there, and we did have several customers as we looked into those smart meters and looked at their hour-by-hour usage. We noticed continuous usage around the clock. That identifies a leak, and with the new smart meter, they're able to pick up on those leaks that previously weren't able to be picked up on. And one important metric that I would like to notice, and through our initial review, is that production at water at the plant, which is demand dependent. This is the water that's being demanded from the plant. Production is up during this time than previous years. So independent of any water meters, production is up at our plants. We're going to further analyze this for our upcoming report back to the council. Greg Gordon will be giving his report to the council at the first meeting in August. And just to go back into this, we currently have 3 types of meters employed throughout the parish. We have manual read meters, which are our oldest meters. We have our 3G meters, which I refer to as drive-by meters, meaning a truck physically drives by and picks up the reading on that meter. And then we have the fixed-base meters. Right now, we are driving by these fixed-base meters. These are the newest meters. We're doing the same thing. We're picking up that bill, but when the system is complete, that meter will wirelessly send a reading to the billing office and straight into the billing system. We have 18,000 meters that are currently either 3G or fixed base. These are all considered smart meters by how they are able to read, and you're able to download that usage data from them. 4,000 meters in the parish are still considered the legacy manual read meter. The parish has been converting from manual to smart meters for the last 14 to 15 years, and transitioning from the manual meters to digital has understandably led to concerns about potential glitches or overestimation of water. Please know that we hear your concerns and we are taking them seriously. I, for one, had a manual meter and requested that my meter be changed so that I could see for myself if there are any irregularities present on my next bill. Let me take a moment to tell you about the steps that we have taken immediately following concerns from the residents. Number one, we engaged a third-party auditor to ensure the accuracy of the billing process, verifying that the readings on the meters match the figures on customers' bills. That will be done randomly. An audit is also underway across all meter types, manual, 3G, and fixed base, to analyze consumption or look for variances for the month of June. Again, comparing consumption across all meter types. The audit will also attempt to compare usage from a neighboring parish, hopefully Kenner or one of the other parishes that actually reads their meters, to see if their consumption was up as well. Meters were randomly selected across, number three, meters were randomly selected across all billing cycles and meter types to be sent off to a third-party laboratory, Fluid Meter in Texas, to be tested for accuracy. I want to mention that our Waterworks department welcomes this review of their system, and they're confident that they are doing right by the parish. Additionally, Melanie Caluette, who's here tonight, who is going to be leading that audit, is here to help, is here to speak about her work that she's performing and answer any of the council questions that you may have, and she'll speak along with Master Meter as well. Over the past year, we've also proactively been working on updating the billing software to bring us into the 21st century. The billing software or the billing processes that we have now have been in place for decades. The software that we will be going to will automate many of the manual processes that are currently in place to allow for future consistency when we have career employees retire. That's part of the issue that we had in the billing office. When we have career employees retire, it's hard for people to come in and learn this new billing system. The smart meters are designed to complement this new system by wirelessly transmitting data from the meters directly to the system, and this coupled with better front-end experience for the residents, being able to see multiple bills, being able to see their usage, being able to see, being able to do more online, not having to bring a voided check into the office to set up a direct draft, is going to put us in line and on par with other utility companies. This system is currently set to go live in January of 2024. We will be testing it in Q3 of this year. And lastly, I hope to further provide transparency and answer any technical questions by having representatives from Master Meter, Mr. Kurt Nash. They manufacture the meters that we use. And a representative from Windwater, Jeremy Greer, who is the distributor of these meters, are going to be available tonight here for council questions. And, you know, just kind of in closing, I'll say that if these reviews uncover any issues, we commit to immediate action to remedy the problem, and we will work tirelessly to prevent any reoccurrence. We are here to serve the residents of St. Charles Parish, and we pledge to restore any lost faith in the Waterworks Department. And just as a last announcement, tomorrow the billing office will be open. Starting tomorrow, the billing office will be open to a 3-day-a-week schedule. Now that our new employees have had the time to train and effectively navigate the existing billing system and process, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 8:30 to 11, and then 12 to 4. That's when the offices will be open, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We appreciate the public's patience as we navigated these employee shortages, and we look forward to going back to our full schedule when the staff moves back out of the temporary billing office and into the existing, or the old billing office, which is currently being repaired for Hurricane Ida damages. And that concludes my report. I guess we'll have Master Meter now come speak, and then Miss Melanie Caluette.
Okay. Sure, thanks. Yeah. Hi, my name is Jeremy Greer. I'm with Baton Rouge Windwater. We're the distributor for Master Meter, who the gentleman passing out some samples for you to look at works for. We've been working with the parish for the last 15 years. We originally provided the 3G drive-by system that he mentioned earlier, and we are currently providing the Allegro or fixed network system that the parish is migrating to. We have some slides here, just kind of a general overview. We wanted to talk very specifically about meter accuracy because we understand that that's the big concern that you might have some questions about. So me and Kurt will be happy to answer any questions that you may have as far as how the meters work, how they transmit, how we know that they're accurate. Basically anything that you want to ask, we are available to you. So how do we know that they're accurate? You want to talk about your test bench at your company?
Sure, absolutely. Hi, thank you all again for allowing us to come here tonight and speak. I'm Kurt with Master Meter, and our testing procedures are AWWA certified, which is the American Water Works Association. They have standards that all companies meet, and we try to meet or exceed their standards. So we exceed AWWA standards by testing. This meter is actually tested at a quarter gallon a minute, at low flow, and at intermediate flows at 5 gallons a minute, and at high flows at 10 gallons a minute. These meters are accurate from a quarter gallon a minute to 20 gallons a minute. This meter can actually move 25 gallons a minute, and it can start registering below the quarter gallon a minute at low flow. So they are extremely accurate. It is a mechanical style meter, so whatever moves through the meter is being registered. So we do that at low flows, or all flows, but low flow is your main flow to go out early. So with your older meters, that is the quickest water to actually pick up and register is your low flows. And those are the first ones to go out on your older existing meters. So by saying that, our test benches are always twice a year inspected, insured, and also have a company come in and prove our testing procedures too. So that's done twice a year. Our benches are always calibrated to 0 on all of our benches, and we test meters all the way up to 12-inch, from 5/8 all the way to 12-inch. So it's a big array of meters that we test.
The meter that's being passed around right now is exactly the meter that you are buying and installing. If you noticed inside the lid, there's a sticker on the inside with testing results for low, intermediate, and high flow that shows the accuracy of the meter. We can show you that on every single meter we've ever sold the parish, and we can go back as far as you want us to. If you provide us the serial number, we can tell you exactly when it left the factory and what the testing results were there. I think the accuracy, let me go back to one. This describes the warranty for the accuracy of the meter as well as just a general warranty. If you have any very specific questions, I don't mind answering those at all. The meter has several different warranties associated with it. The battery is warranted for 20 years, 10 years of unconditional warranty, and then 10 years of prorated warranty. The meter itself is warranted for 2 million gallons? 2.5 million gallons. And then you can kind of see some details in here for 5/8 and 1-inch, the differences there. I've been to the factory in Texas where these meters are assembled and tested. They probably test hundreds, if not thousands of meters every single day, and they ship those all over the nation. Master Meter has in the millions of meters, and just in Louisiana alone, we have quite a few meters installed. We have several different systems that are using the exact same system that you guys are going to currently and are using currently. The register itself, this is kind of a description of exactly what you see at the top. The big thing that I want to point out here is the top left section, which is your rate of flow. If your customers are looking at their water meter, that is where they can see water being used. So if that says 0.2 gallons, that means they're using 0.2 gallons per minute. If that says 10 gallons, that means they're using 10 gallons per minute. If your customers are saying that we have everything off in the house, but we're still seeing water usage, that 99.9% of the time means they have a leak somewhere in their house. It's almost impossible to tell you exactly where that leak is. I mean, we're not really plumbers. We can kind of give you some ideas of where it might be. Ice makers are a big thing because they just drain directly into your sewer system. You may never see it. Irrigation, hot water heaters can sometimes provide leaks like that. Running toilets are extremely common. Like I said, we can provide suggestions. We just don't know exactly where. The meters will continually record data, so we can give you hourly breakdowns of exactly where your water usage is. So we can go to the meter, we can request information if it's in a drive-by mode, and tell you on this date you use this many gallons per hour, this many gallons per day, this many gallons per month. If it's in fixed network mode, we don't have to go to that meter. We can just pull it up directly at the office. This is talking a little bit about the register itself. We're a little different than our competitors in that the register that you see here is totally hermetically sealed. So all of our electronics are inside the register. There's no external connectors. We do that because we're in South Louisiana. You're basically putting a laptop computer in a hole in the ground. So we don't want anything for bugs or critters or really moisture to intrude into our register and cause the battery to go out. So we've had great success in South Louisiana with that register as well as the previous 3G system that you had. This is an endurance test graph, which doesn't look very fancy, I know. Master Meter contracted a third party to do what's called an endurance test on all their meters. They basically set up 20 to 30 meters, ran 2.5 million gallons through it, and measured the accuracy during that time period. There's a full report available on mastermeter.com, and we can also email it to you. It's a pretty dry engineering report, but this is the outcome, and that we can see that over a very small GPM, starting at 0.13 all the way up to 20 gallons per minute, we maintain the accuracy standards that AWWA sets.
How long did you say the battery takes before it needs to be replaced?
So the batteries can't be replaced. We don't want people in the field splicing wires or replacing batteries. If something happens to the register, Windwater, as the distributor, kind of handles the RMA process. We send it back to Master Meter, and Master Meter provides you with a new register. That warranty period, that first 10 years, it's unconditional, no problem. We just send it back, they replace it. The next 10 years, it's a prorated, so your percentage price of the full price of the meter to replace it. In our experience with the drive-by system, which has been out the longest, we've gotten anywhere from 15 to 20 years of battery life out of it. The Allegro system is a more modern design, whereas the 3G system was kind of constantly shouting out, hey, here's my reading. The Allegro system kind of waits to be woken up, and then it sends a signal. If it's in fixed network mode, it just automatically knows just to wake up twice a day, upload its readings, and then go back to sleep. So even though we haven't had the registers in the field for 20 years yet, we expect to see much longer battery life.
Did you say after 10 years, Did you say after 10 years, on the next 10 years, that the residents would be responsible for a certain amount?
No, ma'am, I did not.
To fix it? Mm-hmm. No? Okay, good. All right, making sure I didn't hear that.
No, it's usually going directly through the Waterworks department.
Thank you.
We are also working with the Waterworks department to roll out My Water Advisor, which is a smartphone app where residents can actually use their phone to be able to track their usage. Not necessarily in real time, but within a day or two usage. So if you can actually see when you're using water, what time of day, you can mark yourself as on vacation or away from your house, and if you see water usage, you can send an alert so that, if you don't have that surprise leak when you come back from a Thanksgiving vacation, which is what happened to me when I ran up a $600 water bill because my hot water line broke one day, and I was on vacation for Thanksgiving. So we're rolling this out. We're testing it internally first before we roll it out to residents. And we just kind of want to make sure it works and there's no glitches before we roll it out. But that is something that we definitely want to get out there to help your residents understand their water usage.
But you don't live on our system.
I don't live on our system. I live on my competitor system, so I don't have that available to me, unfortunately. This is just an overall graph. It's probably pretty hard to see, but just kind of exactly what the Allegro network does, how we can pull in information from different sources, whether it's your residential meters, your commercial meters, drive-by, fixed network. It all goes into our software, which they can access via the website Harmony. And then, of course, the app that I mentioned.
Jeremy,
Yes, ma'am.
do you have information about how would a resident know that the battery has failed in their meter?
There's a battery indicator light that should show up within about a month or two before the battery completely dies. And also, if we don't catch that, then the entire screen will be blank. So
Right,
that,
but as far as, would it be indicated on their water bill at all that, hey, this battery has failed? And
so what generally will happen at that point is let's say it's in fixed network mode, the waterworks department would notice that we don't get a reading from that, and they would issue a work order. They would go out, determine what the cause of the issue is, and usually replace the meter at that time. I say the meter, we can also just replace the register or the top, so you don't have to take the whole meter out and interrupt the water supply. We just replace the top and they swap it out.
how quickly would that happen?
In a fixed network mode, they would probably see that within a couple of days at the most.
So it wouldn't have to wait a whole month to?
In drive-by mode, that would be when they pick it up. So in drive-by, they're only reading generally once a month. So they would go through that list of unread meters during their billing cycle and see, and then issue that work order, go and troubleshoot the issue.
All right, thank you.
No problem. I was going to go back to the screen. Yeah, this is the screen. This would be totally blank if there was a battery issue.
The purple line shows the alarms. The purple line shows the alarms that we're dictating there, where there's a cut wire, tamper, leak alarm, or zero flow. And we get those alarms over the network if it's in fixed mode. So those are pretty quick.
Mr. Dufresne?
Thank you. So you kind of answered my question about, is there any way to repair? You said you could put a new housing in?
Correct.
Okay. So here's the other thing. I think the app on a smartphone is great. But what if you're dealing with like an older person like Miss Mary here, who might not have a smartphone?
Wow.
How can they get that information?
So the information is available at the Waterworks Department, and throughout the lifetime of your system, back when we started with the drive-by system, you were able to, the Waterworks Department is able to go and pull a data log directly from the meter, print that out in a PDF, email it. It generally has the customer name and address, and as well as, I believe, their account number on it, so they can see that history themselves.
You can provide them with that information if
The
they go
Waterworks
to the
Department
Waterworks.
can, yes, sir.
We're doing that now.
Yeah, that's
We
they've been
do
doing
that
for about
now, and we
15
have been.
Yeah, because that's the issue with a lot of seniors. They like to go and pay with a check and
Oh, absolutely.
get all the information they, can, so in case they want to know why their bill's high.
And when it's in fixed network mode, again, we're able to just do that from the office. That doesn't require really any extra information, especially because your billing cycle it lags a little bit behind the actual usage. So when they go to the office, if it's in fixed network mode, they can just request that information from the Waterworks Department. They have some procedures in place so they can just print that out for them. If it's in drive-by mode, if they request a data log, a truck has to go out and download that information.
Okay, last question. Up in Baton Rouge, you're a little drier. A lot of our meters stay underwater. Which the percentage of how long it'll last, even though you said it's pneumatically sealed, how long will they last if they're sitting underwater? Because if I open my box, my meter's underwater.
Mine too, by the way.
Mine too. Yes, I live in Port Vincent. I live right on the river.
I
So,
live right on the bayou, so.
yeah, absolutely. So it is hermetically sealed, IP68. There's nothing going to penetrate. If it does penetrate, it's under warranty.
Okay.
We warrant moisture intrusion. So the only three things that are not warranted is vandalism, act of God, or direct lightning strike. That's what I'm talking about. And then pressure surge. And with the planes here, you don't have a whole lot of changing planes. I'm not really concerned about that.
And the meter itself, the new meter, the Allegro meter, is actually, it can sense, it has a frequency that it's sending out its signal on, and that frequency has actually several different frequencies in one band. So if it sees that one is being, if there's high interference on one, it can switch to a second one to try to get that signal out better. We've been in South Louisiana. I've been doing this job for 15 years. Kurt's been with Master Meter for 60, okay. But we've been in South Louisiana. We've gone through almost every storm. We were in Walker during the flood of 2016. We were down in Cameron Parish during all of the last hurricanes going back to Rita. And our meters have continued to survive. In most cases, the meters were still transmitting, especially down in Cameron Parish, but they just weren't at the house anymore. They got blown away. But the meters were still sending out a signal.
Okay. Ms. Fonseca?
Thank you, Madam Chair. How long is that warranty?
20 years on the battery?
Is that the expected lifespan you may have
Yes.
said?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Is that the end of your presentation? Or?
I believe so, unless there's other questions.
I think I have Miss Melanie Caluette here to just talk. She's going to be leading the audit.
Hello, thank you for inviting me to come in. So I will be looking at the actual billing process and the bills and trying to determine what is causing the high bills. Your water bills and your sewer bills are based upon your water consumption and upon the rates that are applied. So with the water consumption, as Mrs. Jewell had said, we're looking at all the different types of meters you have in your system. We're looking at all of your 8 billing cycles, which takes you throughout the parish. We're pulling 5 bills. It's a 3/4-inch meter, which is your most prevalent meter. We're taking 5 from each of those cycles, and we're going to be evaluating those. And we're doing 5 because we're looking at 5 manuals, 5 of your fixed base, and 5 of your drive-bys. So that's actually 15 bills from each cycle that we're evaluating. So that's 120 bills that we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at how they compare to one another, the different types of meters. We'll be looking at how each of those bills compared from June 2023 to June of 2022. We're doing that because both of those, it just happens that both of those months are a 35-day cycle. So we wanted to compare apples to apples. We are, like you said, we're going to be trying to get information from the city of Kenner to make sure that y'all are on par with the city of Kenner. The Waterworks District is also they have already pulled meters out of the system and sent them in for testing. So we'll be able to test the accuracy of the meters. As is expected, the longer that they're in the ground, the less accurate they're going to be. And so we want to see how big of a difference. What's the quantity of difference that you have there? And then we also looked at the difference in your average consumption between your winter months and your summer months, just to see what that's going to do for your consumption as well. Like I said, the other part of this is your user rates. Your user rates are tied to your CPI index. Your CPI this year, going into January for the change, was closer to 8%. And most of the time it's in between 2 and 4%. So that was a large increase that y'all had in your rates, just in your CPI. So when you take into account a higher accuracy with meters, being new meters, not even a different type of meter, but a new meter in general, the fact that you're in your summer months, this being one of your hottest months that we've had on record, and then you go into, applying your rates onto the top of that. That's where all this is coming from. And my job is going to be to quantify what's affecting it. How much is each piece of this puzzle actually affecting the whole? And on top of that, something that hasn't been really touched upon is the fact that your water consumption does affect your sewer bill as well. And so that rate increased this year as well. So of course, increase in consumption, increase in water rates, increase in sewer rates, it all ties in together. So my report will also be actually looking at the sewer rates and how that is affecting the actual utility bill, not just your water bill. So anything, I'm willing to answer any questions. And of course, I will be presenting at the first meeting in August with the results. And so now's the time, if y'all want me to look at something else, let me know now where I could go ahead and make sure I could get that into the report for you.
Okay. Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I did have a question that a constituent asked me. I was going to have the department look into it, but Parish President Jewell advises that I have you look into it, which I think is a good idea. Our rate structure is a step structure based on consumption.
Yes.
So this constituent was concerned that when we have a 35-day billing period, those extra 5 days and the extra 5 days of consumption may trigger them to be in a higher rate. So if you could look into that and.
Yes, and that is actually one of the things that I will be doing when I'm comparing the June of 22 to 23, is to see how many of those 120 bills that I'll be looking at, how many of those actually went above that 6,000 threshold.
Okay.
So I will be looking at that because you're right. When you go with that 6,000, it does make a difference because I believe you're going from right around 420 to I think it was like 540 per 1,000 gallons.
I did have another question. It just slipped my mind. I'll get back with you on it.
Okay.
Thank you.
And
Ms. Gordon.
I'll leave my several of my cards here, so that way if y'all have any questions, y'all could just email me or call me.
I remember. When did the rates get increased?
In January.
This January. Okay, that's every January.
Mm.
That's what I thought. Okay. Yeah. So are we currently at the rate that is proposed? I know the study's done every year. For
Yes.
I'm just asking because some of the previous administrations had held off on doing some of the rate increases. So over time, it did get behind.
Yes.
What was recommended?
So in the past, several years ago, it used to be that I would do a water rate study around every 5 years, do your projections, figure out how much money y'all needed to be able to continue with your capital improvement program. And then several years ago, y'all went to the CPI increase every year. And so that is triggered every year, like clockwork, beginning of the year, it gets updated.
Okay, so you're from the firm that does the study every year?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just put two and two together. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. I've been doing, I used to be with Providence Engineering. This past year, I moved companies to All South, and so I've kept y'all because I knew your system. Okay. And so I've been doing your financial studies for almost 20 years now.
Great. Glad to have you. Look forward to your results.
Thank you.
Ms. Gordon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm not exactly sure who I should be asking this question to, but for the smart water meters, how many homes currently have the smart water the meters?
So you have they're both master meters. One is our, what we call our 3G, and the newest ones are the Allegros that you see on the screen. Between the two, 18,000 homes out of roughly 22,000 have the smart meter. Those last 4,000 are manual meters.
Okay. My second question to that part then, of those homes that have the smart meters, were they the ones that had the increased billing, or?
No, as I mentioned, we dealt with several people who contacted Waterworks who said their consumption was high. And what we like to do is say, let's get you your hour-by-hour consumption so we can see what's happening. Many of the people we could not help because they had manual meters, myself included. I had a manual meter. My consumption was almost double for the month of June. And again, I had my meter switched immediately to one of the new meters so that I could see for myself if there's some sort of anomaly that happens on my usage. And I believe my meter was sent off to be tested as well for its accuracy. So that 30 or 40-year-old meter that was on my house will be tested for accuracy. And then we'll be testing several of the new meters as well.
Okay, well, one more question in reference to this. What area is next to get the smart meters?
That I don't know. Greg, are you?
Greg Gordon, Department of Waterworks. During my next presentation, I'll have it. I can't remember just off the top of my head the exact areas within those cycles. But the next report, I will have a nice map and showing everything where they are and where they will be in the future also. Thank you.
President Jewell, did you want to speak again?
Yeah, I just wanted to make mention to the council as well that wastewater is currently undergoing a rate study as well. And I hope that we will get some information about what that rate needs to be, or if we have to have making the adjustments outside of the actual rate itself, that we can do that.
Mr. Dufresne.
Thank you. Meter guys, I got one quick question.
Yes, sir.
I'm a construction guy, so.
Sure.
So when the new meters are installed, do we have somebody going in to check to make sure it's properly? Because I just thought about this. If you install it and it's loose on my end, the homeowner's end, and I have no idea it's leaking in there, then I'm getting billed for it. You see what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I'm checking everything in my house, and I'm saying nothing is running, but it's running in the box until my yard. And our yards aren't going to show that here because we stay wet majority of the time.
So your meters are installed in two different ways. One directly by Waterworks, and then recently you've been contracting Pedal Valves, which is a local company, to install the water meters. Pedal Valve documents their water meter installations incredibly well. They have a website where you can see the reading, the picture, before and after the install. They verify that there's no leaks on either side of the meter. And when your internal water department people do it, they check that as well. And also, when we see leaks going through the meter, that's one of the first things that us as meter guys, as well as my meter readers and waterworks staff, that's the first thing that we check. If we go in that meter box and we have to pump it out with water and we see water coming from the meter, we check those connections. As far as what you do in the usage at that point, that'd probably be a better question for the billing department and waterworks directly. But that's something that they check every single time that we see a leak.
Okay. Yeah, because if you don't, that's the worst case scenario.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Worst case scenario for a homeowner who's already struggling with the water.
In my personal experience, if you're using pedal valves, they're a company that installs hundreds of thousands of water meters per year across the nation. They just happen to be located here in St. Charles Parish. They do an incredible job. I would put them up against just about anybody in the country to install water meters. And your local staff is just as good because it's their home team. They live here. They want those meters to work. The very last thing that a meter installer or a meter reader wants to do is go to the same place twice to fix something. They want to get it right the first time.
Okay. I was just wondering if we had some kind of safety net to check. So if there's a leakage, the first thing they do is open the box and check to see if there's water in there.
Yes, sir.
And then if there is, it's on the parish to give, I would think, to give the people some kind of credit.
That I can't really speak to, but
Yeah.
that's just one thing that's
Yeah, so it's important to know that, like, if you have a pool, a swimming pool, or if we make a mistake on installing your meter and there's a leak, we will adjust that bill back down to either the previous months or whatnot. If residents contact us, they get that hour-by-hour billing, and you see a leak. Look, I personally worked, I'm not gonna say who it is by name, but I personally worked with someone who reached out to me personally and said, Matt, there's no way I have a leak. He showed 40,000 gallons of usage. He said, this meter is not accurate. Well, spoke with him, he had a plumber over, can't find a leak. I told him, look, you gotta go to your meter box and take a look. Waterworks went out there, the meter box was full of water, they pumped it out, it filled back up with water again, and it just happened to be right dead square between 300-year-old live oak trees. And the trees were very happy, they were nice and green, because they've been drinking about 20,000 gallons of water for that month. But that's the kind of stuff that we deal with, we go through time to time, and then, so that gentleman had that leak fixed by Waterworks because it was at the meter, and we did give him a credit.
And we will issue credits if we find situations like that. And back on the meter installation project, there was also a resident inspector on that. So the resident inspector actually went back and looked at every meter, every install, and provided a report along with pedal valves at the end of that phase of the project.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, President Jewell. Okay, now we're going to move on next to ordinances, resolutions introduced for publication and public hearing Monday, August 14th, 2023, 6 p.m., Council Chambers, Courthouse, Hahnville. Item number 2023-0194, 2023-0195, 2023-0196, and 2023-0203. Okay, ordinances scheduled for public hearing and adoption at this public meeting, introduced at a previous meeting. Item number 2023-0171, an ordinance adopting, setting forth, levying, and imposing taxes on all properties subject to taxation in the Parish of St. Charles, State of Louisiana, as required by Section 23, Article 7 of the Constitution of Louisiana and Revised Statute 47.1705B for general parochial purposes, constructing, acquiring, maintaining, operating, extending, and/or approving levees, facilities, and structures associated with outer flood protection systems within the parish, constructing, maintaining, and operating the parish road maintenance program, parish recreation program, parish fire protection, mosquito control program, E911 telephone system, health unit and council on aging program, council on aging program 2, road lighting district number 1, library service district number 1, the Ark of St. Charles, paying any costs associated with acquiring, constructing, improving, maintaining, and operating wastewater facility systems in the parish. Mr. Dusar.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I apologize for not being able to make that shorter, but you have to list out all 14 of our taxing districts. This is our annual millage ordinance, and whereas the parish president alluded to in his parish president report, we are, I'm happy to report, proposing to reduce our millages by 1.5. which will result in a direct savings to the taxpayers as well, the residents as well as commercial industry. If you have any questions about the reductions or about any of the millages, I'll be happy to answer. That's it.
File number 2023-0171 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening. Matthew Allshouse, 303 South Fashion Boulevard. I'm the chief of Hollandville Volunteer Fire Department. Apologize, I probably smell like smoke. I'm in it. We're actually working an active fire right now. I understand, and I think, through social media, some information had gotten out saying that money was being cut from the fire department. We clearly understand that money is not being cut, so we understand that we're not decreasing in revenue. But where we stand right now, we're moving from a volunteer fire department to a paid-based fire department at no fault of our own. That's just the conditions of the community. We're losing volunteers, struggling to keep people we have, struggling to keep paid firefighters as well. Where certain districts are having some issues with equipment, so I'm out on an active fire right now. I think we do a diligent job trying to, extend our money. So one of my engines, I got firefighters sitting in that engine. We don't have AC in it. I've repaired that AC several times over, trying to save the parish money. But at some point, we're going to have to expend more money. So that's both on the personnel side and on the equipment side. And what we were asking for is to get the maximum amount of money that we can. At some point, we're going to have to come back to this council and look for a millage for paid personnel. So that's something that will be coming in the future. Again, we were just trying to keep that extra money that was coming in. Unfortunately, I feel like this was put on us prior to having a discussion. Again, that may be our fault for not spreading that message. I explained to y'all before, we have been doing a bad job of explaining to the council and to the administration on, where we stand, where the troubles are, where things are happening good. So that's something that we need to address. But at this point, I just feel like I understand this is going to go through. But again, in the future, I think both sides need to be communicated so y'all can understand our position. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Allhouse. Please state your name and address for the record.
Jonathan Purnell, 107 Natchez Court, Hornville, Louisiana. Just wanted to say that I was terminated from volunteer service while I was working with FEMA from volunteering. So the chief knew that I worked for FEMA, deployed, helping out evacuees, different things from Vermont, California, different other areas. And I spoke to him in reference to keeping me as a volunteer firefighter, and he went to say that, no, they voted on it, knowing that I was deployed with FEMA, and just wanted to make sure that everybody know that. So with trying to get more paid fire department personnel, they had volunteers that were trying to step up to help, but when you're doing stuff...
Sir, this is to speak to the millage?
Yeah, with the millage footer, yes, correct.
Okay.
So same thing, I'm just making sure that I explain everything as well, so definitely. So looking at that, taking consideration about the millage as far as paying, when you also had volunteers that they're letting go when they're helping out with major disasters. So just wanted to put that out there on your heart. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you so much. Please state your name and address for the record.
Donald Payton, 121 Ormond Village. I'm the fire chief of East St. Charles Fire Department, which protects the communities of Destrehan and New Sarpy. Before I get into any specifics, I'd like to pose a question for you to ask yourselves as members of our neighborhoods and communities. What is your current expectations of us? For you, your property, your family, what level of service do you want to be able to provide to you in the need of a call upon? When you're driving our streets, putting your children on the buses and sending them off to school, working in our businesses, warehouse and chemical plants, lying in bed at night and you hear the sirens going to help someone else who's in need, and that's what's expected of us to do. When the volunteer fire service was chartered 40 years ago, we were contracted for fire protection only. This has never been redefined or changed since that time. This is the only thing that a millage and funding was ever designed for or had taken upon in consideration. Yet, we do to continue to do the right thing. To provide, first, competently trained and immediate response for medical emergencies when the EMS is frequently delayed. To be trained and equipped for vehicle accident rescues and extrication while maintaining good traffic control and highway safety procedures through training and manpower on scene. To provide initial responses and mitigation of hazmat emergencies and evacuate people in harm's way, whether it be weather-related, highways, or interstates, or to mutual aid response in and around our power plants. Perform technical rescues operations where ropes or special confined space equipment and monitoring is the only way to reach someone in need. And of course, to quickly, efficiently, and as possible, safely as possible, to put out a fire where simultaneously searching and burning rescues for possible victims hidden in smoke and confusion. This is not our volunteer neighborhood fire brigade that it was decades ago. It's just not a fire engine, hoses, water, and boots that need to be borrowed for what dealing out of the same percentage of figures. Call volumes have increased over 400%. Last year to almost 700 emergencies in District 8 alone. That doesn't even begin to reflect the other 8 St. Charles fire departments in responses to their own community. Times have changed and more slightly has been assumed and expected from us, as we are proud to keep rising to the occasion and to those standards of performances. Our parish currently enjoys the least expectation of the fire department's budget per citizens in the
Mr. Payton,
state.
your time has expired. We had you scheduled a little bit later on for a
Okay.
5-minute discussion. Do you need some more time?
Yeah, please.
Okay. We have a request. We have a motion from Bob Fisher and a second from Ms. Fonseca. Please cast your vote for an additional 3 minutes. And that passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Withholding the rollback percentage for the fire services might allow us to at least stay afloat originally without even moving money from other services within the parish, or without passing an increased tax to our citizens for a very essential and already underfunded service. But operational costs are being to outpace the department's income. I gave you all a chart to identify East St. Charles. I'm not going to go talk about it. Basically, what it is ultimately the sacrifice that our fire departments do for the community is outpacing what we are contracted to do. It's not that we don't want to provide the services, but as the time grows, the industry grows, we're more and more demanding on the fire departments. If you look at the tax millages, St. Charles Parish is the lowest tax-based millage in the whole state of Louisiana. For the community, the size that we are, and what the expectations are of the council, your members, your family, it's more important to us to keep what we have and continue to grow our services in the parish. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Payton. Is there any more public discussion? Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Is there any council discussion? Ms. Gordon.
Let me come back on my question.
All right.
Yeah.
Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had trouble pressing the button there. I'd like to first thank the fire service volunteers and paid staff and all of you for your service. It's invaluable to our parish, and I think we all understand that. Also, thank you to Chief Allshouse. I met with you Tuesday after the last meeting, and the information that you shared was very helpful, and I commend you and your staff for actually going after federal grants and being able to secure some. I know that in some cases it's not a lot of money, but it can help with equipment. One thing that did come to my mind throughout these discussions is that we don't have the fire service come before us at any time during the year, like a lot of the other agencies that do get millages, for ad valorem taxes. And I think it would be nice if we would schedule a representative from the fire service, whether it be from the association or otherwise. We can, figure that out later. Come before us once a year to share everything, statistics on the things that you all do. Because, I've been a part of the administration and council for 14 years now, and I have to say that I don't really know a whole lot about fire service. I know Councilman Fisher has shared some of what he does. He's a volunteer with the fire service, but I think that would have helped if we would have had that base, just like Chief Allshouse said, in beginning these discussions, not just before us once a year for an annual report, but also the other agencies come before us during the budget hearings and they share what their budget plans are for the next fiscal year. So I think that would be important for us to also schedule. I do appreciate where you all are coming from. Chief Allshouse shared some of his department's finances with me. He did say that the proposed millage reduction is not going to be detrimental to his department, but looking forward in the future, like you said, they do have some repairs and some capital assets that they're going to need to be some investment in. So I think for me, right now, being that inflation has increased dramatically, our homeowners are facing not only high flood insurance bills, but also homeowners insurance bills, along with all the other costs, food, utility bills. We heard some of that tonight. That it's important that we are able to roll back a little bit, yet still each agency is getting an increase, even though we are rolling back. So I support this ordinance, but at the same time, I do encourage that we have future discussions with the fire service and the reporting that I mentioned. And if we need to meet with you all, later this year or in the coming after, the election to discuss if any changes need to be made that we need to make on our end. I think that's important that we have those discussions, and I look forward to doing that. Thank you.
Mr. Dufresne.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Grant, so if this passes and we roll the millage back, they're going to get $348,714.
More than they got last year, correct.
Okay, more than what they got. So how many fire stations do we have?
9, I believe.
9, so we can divide that number by 9. So what would they get if we didn't? If we left them at where they were and everybody else went?
Each one would probably get around 20,000 more per station.
It's 170,000 total.
170,000 total, yeah.
Total?
So split between 9, it'd be about 19.2, I think.
Okay. I'm all for cutting taxes, but I'm also all for trying to give people who volunteer their services and their time everything we can. I've been a foot soldier my whole life. I was in the Army. The Army provided me what I needed when I had to go to battle. And I'd like to continue to provide those guys what they need when they got to go to battle. We're a wealthy parish. We have Taj Mahals for libraries. You know, we have really nice things. And I don't think this breaks the bank if we leave these guys alone and give them what they need. I know the ones in my district, the three, all have mortgages that they're having to pay on their new firehouses or the firehouses that they had to remodel. Their equipment's getting older. And I think the chief from Hornville is right. They're going to have to come to this council in the future and grovel for money, and we're going to have to add a millage on. So somewhere we got to pay the piper. Either we pay it tonight or we pay it down the road. So, I mean, President Jewell and I met about this. I told him I think it's great that we're wealthy enough and we get enough money coming in that we can roll back, but I asked them to leave the fire stations alone. I really do. That's the way I feel, and people are going to frown upon it if I vote against it. But I'm not voting against lowering taxes. I'm all for that. But I'm voting to help these guys out. They heard the call and they stepped up for their community without getting anything, you know, in return. So I really wish we could amend this to where we leave the fire stations alone and get those guys what they need. So I'm with you guys. I don't know if it'll help, but I'm with you guys. Thanks.
Is there any additional council discussion? Ms. Cormier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We're talking $18,000 per fire station if we were to left it where it was. And I'm kind of speaking toward Mr. Dufresne over there. So that increase that they didn't get, so they got the 348,000 increase, but they didn't get that additional 170,000. You divide that by 9, it's only 18,000 per station. I agree that doesn't break the bank, but I also agree if we don't move forward on this entire ordinance tonight, we've held up all the other agencies as well. But I do think that this council seems to have a plan moving forward in years to come, because I'll personally speak from experience. I heard tonight for the first time that Hornville was moving forward a fully paid fire department. So I wasn't aware of that. And I think the more communication the council gets, along with the administration from the fire departments, the more we know what the needs are, the more we can help anticipate funding what the needs are. So I know 18,000 per fire station would be nice, in addition to that 348,000 total. But for the sake of progress, I think we've got to move forward on all of this tonight.
All right, was that a motion for you, Mr. Dufresne? Yes. Did you make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion.
Or you made the motion, okay. Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to, I'd like to make a motion to take off the fire department, the fire protection, off the millage.
We have a motion by Ms. Belloc and a second by Mr. Dufresne.
Yeah, to leave them.
To leave them at their regular rate.
Madam Chair, I'd like to get an opinion from our legal department whether this would be a material change, meaning that a new ordinance would have to be introduced, it would have to be delayed
Mr.
2 meetings from now to take another vote to do that.
It can be a motion to amend the ordinance, and a motion to amend can be voted on. It's not changing the germane substance of what's being discussed today, meaning the fire protection, the funding. So I think we can go forward with a motion to amend. If the council chooses they want to amend it and table it to the next vote, they can do that as well.
I'm speaking to the amount.
To the amount
The
specifically?
amount that it would change.
The amount specifically would be germane. If you're changing the amount, it would be germane to the topic, which would mean I would give the opinion that it should be amended and changed and re-voted on, 2 weeks introduced and
So it
re-voted
would delay it.
Yes, it would delay.
Okay, that's the answer
Yes,
that I
if it's
wanted.
if it's the amount that's being changed, that's substantive and germane to the ordinance. If it's just a wording, an amendment in the wording, that could be voted on in that way. I'm not sure what the amendment proposed is going to be.
Okay. So I guess Councilwoman Belloc can state the amendment, but we all need to keep in mind that this, in fact, if it would pass, would delay the ordinance for another 2 weeks.
So the ordinance will not pass
2 weeks
for another 2 more weeks. All right, Mr. Fisher.
So I guess I want a point of clarity. So if we amend this ordinance to restore the fire protection back to the original mill, and we vote on that, we cannot vote tonight on this ordinance as amended? It has to be re-advertised again,
Yes.
and it has to hold over.
The change in the amount will be germane to the issue, it's substantive change, not a grammatical or typographical change.
Not 2 weeks, 2 meetings.
2 meetings. 2 meetings, so we're talking about a month. We're talking about reducing all the way till September.
Yep.
Grant, I guess I'm gonna ask you, where does that put us? Is that-
Not in the greatest spot, because it has to be turned into the legislative auditor by September 1st to get approved. That's the rub. That's why we do it. We try to do it in July.
I'm gonna wonder here. Thank you.
Could we hold?
Just a note for you.
All right. Okay. We have a motion by Ms. Belloc and a second by Mr. Dufresne to amend the fire department from the millage, thus pushing it back a month. Let's vote.
Madam Chair, point of clarity. I'm going to point of clarity real quick. I'm not quite sure on this amendment, so what would be the actual number we're moving the fire department back to? What was the original mill?
1.58
It'd be 1.58, and the current
is 1.5.
proposed is 1.5. So we're going to put back
0.08.
0.08.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Please cast your vote to vote on this sans the millage for fire department. Is that correct? As we're voting on the amendment.
Amend the amount
Amend the amount.
to the fire department.
Right. Okay. Please cast your votes.
We voting to amend the amount.
So we're just doing
We're voting to put the fire department back in the way.
that's being spelled out.
We'll see what happens.
And that motion fails. So now we need to have a vote, a motion and a second to pass your votes for file number 2023-0171 as original.
Thank you. You don't need a motion.
No, we don't need a motion. We didn't have that. Okay, cast your votes for file number 2023-0171. And that motion passes with Nikki Dufresne as a nay. Now we move to ordinances scheduled for public hearing introduced at a previous meeting. Item number 2023-0177, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of a contract with Quartz Construction Services Incorporated for the West Bank Bridge Park Improvements Phase 1, project number REC WBI 22, in the lump sum of $1,984,500. Mr. Foray.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and members of the council, Parish President Jew. I'm not going to reiterate the amenities. Parish President Jew did a wonderful job articulating the amenities that we have coming. It is a significant investment in our most used park and our park structure, and I'd ask for your support. Thank you.
File number 2023-0177 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come forward and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Is there any council discussion? Mr. Dufresne.
Dwayne, same as the, you all right?
Yeah, just a little sore.
I got you. So you taking it, you using the parks? Is that what you're saying?
I actually played pickleball at Cypress Lakes last night.
Where you at, though?
So same question as when we were dealing with East Bank. So can we expect some insurance money from Hurricane Ida to help us with this amount? Is it 10%, 25, significant amount?
I think it's
I know all
upwards
fences,
to
right? The fences and the lights
like-
were definitely destroyed.
I want to say, and I'm not real sure, like 70 to 80%.
Okay.
And then we did get some funding from the state for this particular project, for both East and West Bank.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah,
right?
and I'm not going to say it now, but we do have some private funding that's also been available to us for the turf fields. That'll come at a later date, and we feel good about doing the same thing at the East Bank.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any additional council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2023-0177. That passes unanimously. Item number 2023-0178, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of a contract with All Star Electric Incorporated for the West Bank Bridge Park Improvements Phase 1 lighting, project number REC WBI 22, in the lump sum of $1,189,420. Mr. Foray.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And this is still part of Phase 1, our master plan approach to our West Bank Bridge Park. The reason why we separate the two was turf contractors were going to sub out the lighting anyway. We are upgrading the lighting to LED. That's why we haven't fixed them after the storm, not only for Field 1, Field 2, but also our 2 brand-new tennis courts and our 4 brand-new pickleball courts. So that's why we did it that way. We thought we'd get more bang for our buck, focusing that bid on actual lighting contractors. So I'd again ask for your support. Thank you.
File number 2023-0178 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2023-0178. And that passes unanimously. Item number 2023-0179, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of a cooperative endeavor agreement between St. Charles Parish and the Lafourche Basin Levee District relative to a levee lift for Sunset Drainage District within the West Bank Hurricane Protection Levee System, Project A, an access road and surcharge area for the future boat ramp located on property known as Des Allemands Boat Launch Project B. Mr. Oob.
Yes, this is a CEA between St. Charles Parish and the levee district with regard to a road being constructed in the Zalmans for the bulkhead. Mr. Palomone is going to speak on the specifics of the road, but basically the CEA is a cost sharing where the parish gets to benefit from other funding in order for the road to be constructed.
Yeah, basically what we're going to do is we're going to allow them to utilize the boat launch property to access the levee for their upcoming lift. And by doing that, they are going to put in the surcharging that we were scheduled to start on the road itself. We are still going to maintain our portions of where the boat launch is and the parking lot, but the levee board will be paying for that access road and surcharging it. So probably saving the parish in the neighborhood about $650,000, as well as at least 1 to possibly 2 months because of the excess trucks that are going to be running on that. We're going to get a good compaction real quick.
I like saving money. That's good. File number 2023-0179 is now open for public hearing. If anyone would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Is there any council discussion? Mr. Jewell.
Thank you, Chairwoman. This is part of our continued effort to push the boat launch project while also getting a benefit from the levee lift into Zalmans. I'm not sure this group is totally aware. I know I've had these conversations with Councilman Dufresne. The first Sunset levy lift that was put out to bid by the Lafourche Basin Levy District came back more than double the estimated cost because of the high dirt cost and because we were spreading basically a lot of dirt out over a long, long distance, really just doing a dress up of this levee. So what they decided to do, come back, work with the parish. We've moved this levee lift into 2 phases by working with the levee district, and they're going to bolster that levee up more on that outward coastal facing side, open water side of the levee. But with that, they needed access roads because Chevron, some of the access roads that Chevron used to give, they're no longer giving because of their mitigation. So we're able now to partner with them to build that access road. We'll be putting in the dirt for our boat launch as well. So we'll be getting some economies by adding that dirt into this overall project. And I think it's a win-win for the parish. And if something goes wrong with that bid, we'll be prepared to go out to bid ourselves as well.
Ms. Cluley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is there an estimate of what the parish share is going to be on this cooperative endeavor agreement?
So the entire piece that we were originally going to build was in the neighborhood of close to $2 million. So they're going to be absorbing, I think, in the neighborhood of $650,000 of that. We're still going to have to come back when we did it. We're only going to put in a temporary culvert by the canal. We're just worried about it being shifted by the excess trucks. So it's still going to cost us, a considerable amount, but we're getting a pretty good chunk paid for by the levee district.
Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm not sure how the idea came about of, well, I guess after the bids came in, it was someone's idea to get with the Lafourche Basin Levee District and I guess a benefit from the synergies between the 2 projects. But I think it's a great use of the ad valorem tax that they get from the taxpayers in this parish. And I commend you all on your efforts to put this together. Thank you.
Okay, is there any additional council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2023-0179. And that passes with Councilwoman Cormier absent for the remainder of the evening.
I would still read it.
Okay, item number 2023-0201, Mr. Donald Payton, person to address the council, fire chief, proposed millage rollback, has already spoken this evening. Is that correct? Okay, so we're going to move on. Item number 2023-0202, Mr. Dwayne LaGrange will speak on waterworks. Please state your name and address, Mr. LaGrange, for the record. You will have 5 minutes to speak.
Dwayne LaGrange, Hunville, Louisiana. Good evening. I'll get straight to the point. The water billing instability in our parish has caused anxiety and financial strain for many families, and this against the backdrop of inflation, rises in property taxes, and insurance. Residents have reported sudden and unexplained spikes in their water bills, making it difficult for them to manage their household budgets effectively. Moreover, the lack of transparency in the billing process has only added to the frustration and suspicion among our residents. As these complaints have occurred over several months, we cannot let this problem persist any longer. It is time to take meaningful action to restore trust in our water billing system and provide residents with the peace of mind that they deserve. First, I propose an immediate audit of the water billing system by an independent third party to address the issue that has been a concern for many months now. An independent third-party audit is non-negotiable, as the parish has not been able to remedy this concern in a timely manner for months now. This will help us identify systematic flaws or discrepancies that may exist in our waterworks billing system. By understanding the root causes of these billing issues, we can work towards implementing lasting solutions, including how to make parish residents whole who may have been adversely impacted by these events. Second, we need to ensure complete transparency in water billing. Residents have the right to know how their bills are being calculated and what factors contribute to the fluctuations in charges. Establishing a user-friendly online portal that breaks down billing details will empower residents to track their usage, raise concerns, and find ways to conserve water effectively. For our citizens who prefer in-person customer service, restoration of full-time waterworks customer service is a must. Our residents deserve nothing less. And third, let us explore the possibility of instituting a reasonable limit on water bill increases. While we understand that the operational costs may fluctuate, sudden and exorbitant hikes in bills may be prevented, especially for those on fixed incomes. Setting a cap on how much the bill can increase from one billing cycle to the next will provide stability and predictability for our residents. Furthermore, let's establish an effective communication system for our waterworks department, a truly dedicated helpline and/or email support system for residents to address billing inquiries and report discrepancies. This will show your commitment to resolving citizens' concerns promptly and professionally. I conclude that as representatives of the citizens of St. Charles Parish, it is your responsibility to listen and address these grievances effectively. By conducting an independent audit, promoting transparency, limiting bill increases, and establishing dedicated support channels, we can make significant strides towards resolving this issue. Now, I want to ask a couple of questions. I know you're not obligated to answer, but we noticed the young lady who spoke earlier, Miss Melanie, I think I had gotten her card. How was she selected, and does she work for the company that actually is providing these meters to the parish? Can anybody answer that? Is she truly independent? When we do go to select someone that's an independent auditor, how can the public have a say-so in this? Will they? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. LaGrange, for your insight and observations. Earlier, we heard President Jewell and others regarding this issue, and I believe plans have already been put in place during his president report. So thank you. Okay, now moving on to resolutions. Item number 2023-0197, a resolution in support of the Planning and Zoning Commission's approval for 2023-3 SPU for an accessory dwelling unit in an R1A zoning district at 100 Caddo Street, Parity, with a waiver from the minimum building elevation as requested by Mr. Robert and Heidi Lazare.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This application...
Mr. Albert.
This application is for a special permit use for an accessory dwelling unit. The building and the use meet the requirements for an accessory dwelling unit, and the department has no objection regarding the proposed special permit use. I think there is something of a mistake in the communication in the recommendations at a glance. We could not recommend approval on this. It states it in there. I think because of the way this one was structured, they're asking for a variance on the flood elevation, and with this new being a new construction, we can't recommend that because they can build to elevation. But the Planning Commission did hear this. They are requesting to reduce the elevation requirement to 1 foot above the street, which is the effective map. Typically, the Board of Adjustment issues these variances because of the way the code's constructed on special permit use matters. The Planning Commission hears the waiver, and the council grants a supporting resolution if they're in favor of that. At any rate, we couldn't recommend approval. We don't necessarily have an objection to the permit use. However, the Planning Commission did approve both the accessory dwelling unit and the request to reduce the construction elevation for the application.
All right, thank you. File number 2023-0197 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Council. My name is Sergio Medina. I am the son-in-law of Robert and Heidi, and we do ask consideration and request approval for this waiver. That's about it.
Thank you. Is there any additional public comment? Seeing none, public comment is now closed. Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2023-0197. And that passes unanimously. Item number 2023-0198, a resolution endorsing a waiver from Appendix C, Subdivision Regulations of 1981, Section 3, Geometric Standards C, Lots 1, Size A, Corner Lot, as requested by Boyd, Kindler, Patty Gasson, Brent Kindler, Trudy Brooks, and Carrie Parlett. Mr. Albert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a re-subdivision action taking 2 lots into 2 lots with a different orientation on the street frontages. Staff has no objection to the proposed re-subdivision. They are required to get a waiver due to the corner lot not having enough typical width for corner lots in this area. We don't have any objection to the waiver request because there are numerous other platted lot corners in this neighborhood with the same configuration. Thank you.
File number 2023-0198 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Seeing none, public comment is now closed. Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote for file number 2023-0198. And that passes unanimously. Item number 2023-0199, a resolution authorizing the St. Charles Parish Council to approve the industrial tax exemption application for St. Charles Clean Fuels LLC, project ID 202-30093-ITE for participation in the industrial tax exemption program for potential project in St. Rose, Louisiana. Mr. Jewell.
This is the ITEP proposal that we heard today in the committee hearing. St. Charles Clean Fuels is looking to do a project in St. Rose where they'll build 2 ammonia trains. This project is considered a blue ammonia project and is considered 99% carbon-free because it is also attached to a carbon capture project as well. I know the council has heard about this, again, in the committee meeting. This project is also considered by DEQ to be a minor source emission, so it'll go through a different pathway for permitting. I know we have my Economic Development Director, Corey Fauché, here to speak on any of the questions or concerns, as well as representatives from St. Charles Clean Fuels, as well as the TJC Group, also here to answer any concerns. But this would be approval for their ITEP exemption.
Thank you, Mr. Jewell. Item number 2023-0199 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who would like to speak regarding this item, please do so now. Seeing none, public comment is now closed. Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2023-0199. And that passes unanimously. Item number 2023-0200, a resolution authorizing the St. Charles Parish to approve the industrial tax exemption application for St. Charles Clean Fuels LLC, project number 202-30132-ITE, for participation in the industrial tax exemption program for a potential project in St. Rose, Louisiana. Mr. Jewell.
Thank you. Just quickly, this is a part of the same project, just a different project within that. I think is the best way to describe that. Remember, there are going to be two trains associated with this.
File number 2023-0200 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Seeing none, public comment is closed. Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2023-0200. And that passes unanimously. Appointments. Item number 2023-0188, a resolution appointing a member of the St. Charles Parish Communications District representing the St. Charles Parish Sheriff's Office. The council will confirm the nomination of Ms. Amanda Pertwee to the St. Charles Parish Communications District representing the St. Charles Parish Sheriff's Office, a 4-year term to begin August 19th, 2023 and expire August 19th, 2027. Please cast your votes to confirm the appointment of Ms. Amanda Pertwee to the St. Charles Parish Communications District representing the St. Charles Parish Sheriff's Office. And that passes unanimously. Item number 2023-0189, a resolution appointing a member to the St. Charles Parish Communications District representing the St. Charles Parish Firemen's Association. Council will confirm the nomination of Mr. Oliver Dufresne to the St. Charles Parish Communications District representing the St. Charles Parish Firemen's Association, a 4-year term to begin August 19, 2023 and expire August 19, 2027. The nominee is Mr. Oliver Dufresne. Please cast your votes to confirm the appointment of Mr. Dufresne to the St. Charles Parish Communications District representing the St. Charles Parish Firemen's Association. And that motion passes unanimously. Item number 2023-0190. Accept the resignation of Mr. Kenny Wenning, Jr., St. Charles Parish Communications District representing St. Charles Parish. Please cast your votes accepting the resignation of Mr. Kenny Wenning, Jr. on the St. Charles Parish Communications District representing St. Charles Parish Council. And that passes unanimously. Item number 2023-0191, a resolution appointing a member to the St. Charles Parish Communications District representing the St. Charles Parish Council. Council Chairman will accept nominations to the St. Charles Parish Communications District representing the St. Charles Parish Council to fill the vacancy caused by the resignation of a term of Mr. Kenny Wenning, Jr., unexpired term to begin immediately and expire August 19th, 2026. Are there any nominations?
Madam Chair, I'd like to ask we defer this to the next council meeting.
The nominations are deferred. A motion is needed to defer or to close nominations? There's no motion needed? No. Okay, so all right, no motion needed to defer. Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Item number 2023-0192, a resolution appointing a member to the Industrial Development Board, Monday, August 14th, 2023. The council chairman will accept nominations to the Industrial Development Board to fill the vacancy created by the expiration of the term of Mr. Timothy J. Vial, a 6-year term to begin October 1st, 2023, and expire October 1st, 2029. This is just an announcement. Another just an announcement, 2023-0193, a resolution appointing a member of the Industrial Development Board. On Monday, August 14th, 2023, the council chairman will accept nominations to the Industrial Development Board to fill the vacancy created by the expiration of the term of Mr. Billy Raymond, a 6-year term to begin October 1st, 2023, and expire October 1st, 2029. Meetings, announcements, and notices, etc. Meetings, Lafourche Basin Levy District, Wednesday, August 2nd, 2023, 6 p.m., Lafourche Basin Levy District Office, 21380 Highway 20, Vacherie. Planning and Zoning Commission, Thursday, August 3rd, 2023, 6 p.m., Council Chambers. Civil Service Board, Tuesday, August 8th, 2023, 6:30 p.m., Council Chambers. Community Action Advisory Board, Wednesday, August 9th, 2023, 5 p.m., Council Chambers. Communications District, 9/11, Monday, August 14th, 2023, 5 p.m., 911 Center, 222 Joe Louis Lane, Hahnville. St. Charles Parish Council, Monday, August 14th, 2023, 6 p.m., Council Chambers. Adjournment. A motion and a second is needed to adjourn. I have a motion by Ms. Cluley and a second by Ms. Belloc. Please cast your votes to adjourn. And that motion passes unanimously. Have a great evening. We are officially adjourned.